Just a few more questions. I was just reading a blog from, what did I do with that? Excuse me here, Debbie Schlussel. She's a blogger. What does she mean by the term reverse escort? Can any of you answer that question? Mr. Homan.
I can answer that question. The activity in Rio Grande Valley has spiked a couple months ago, has since went down, but we've seen an increase in other than Mexican arrests. Citizens from El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, the three major populations. We have a congressionally mandated cap on overtime. My office is going to make so much in overtime, and a lot of the arrests the Border Patrol is making is unaccompanied juveniles. These are nationals under the age of 18. We are only allowed to detain them up to 72 hours before we turn them over to Health and Human Services Office of Refugee Resettlement. So with the surge in the unaccompanied alien juvenile arrest that we got into custody, we are by law and statute are supposed to turn them over to HSS. They have facilities all across the country. When we contact them saying we have a juvenile in custody, where do we take them? We have to deliver that unaccompanied juvenile to them so they can place them in a facility comparable for a juvenile. My officers were doing so many escorts of these juveniles, they're bumping up against the overtime cap. So the cost is the same for an officer to go from San Antonio to Detroit to drop off a juvenile with Health and Human Services and then fly back to San Antonio is a fixed cost. Since we're bouncing up against the cap, what we're asking the other officers to do, rather than having this guy exceed the cap, we're having the Detroit officer fly down to San Antonio, pick up the juvenile, and take him back to Detroit. Same costs across the board. What it is it's a way to deal with our budget and a way to deal with the mandate of the limit of overtime we can pay our officers.
So according to the blog, they're saying that immigration agents are dropping them off in sanctuaries, awaiting amnesty.
That's not accurate. My officers turn them over to Health and Human Services, Office of Refugee Resettlement. Now, they have contracts for certain people that detain the juvenile and make sure he gets medical and gets his food until he gets a hearing from the immigration judge and gets ordered removed. You would have to talk to Health and Human Services how they build that contract out and who they contract with the House of Juveniles, but that's totally taken out of context.
Okay, so the other question is, why would you fly a juvenile or anybody from Texas or Arizona or New Mexico to Detroit to await trial or some kind of disposition? Because
Health and Human Services ran out of beds in Texas. They have contracts over the country. Juvenile aliens are arrested all over the 50 states. Because of the surge in Rio Grande Valley, Health and Human Services ran out of contract beds in Texas. So now here's Health and Human Services tells us, okay, here's where's availability to take care of this child. Here's where you bring them. So again, that's a Health and Human Services call on where their contracts are for bedding. Okay, now I want to get